Hey guys, Ash here, coming at you today with some miner strategy. I've scoured the interwebs and I cannot find any really great miner decks and strategy tips out there, so I figured why not go ahead and make a video all about that today. So today we're going to be playing with this deck, or actually I'm not going to be playing, I'm going to be sharing replays because I don't have the miner card yet, but Manu does and he's been having a lot of success with it. So let's look at this deck here. The Zap Spell, the Mini Pekka, the Spirit Goblins, the Minion Horde, the Elixir Collector, the Princess, and the Cannon. Now, all these cards have great utility both in terms of offense and defense, and you're going to see the philosophy behind this deck throughout these replays that we're going to show you here. It's really basic, but it does take a little bit of time to get the hang of, especially in terms of when to use and when not to use the miner. So obviously, the Elixir Collector is going to hopefully provide you a good advantage throughout the entire match here. I'm going to bring you 3 different deck variations that we're going to fight against today, just to show you how this deck can shine against all kinds of popular decks. So here, we're going against the power deck with the Prince, the Dark Prince, and the Pekka. Now let's talk about the actual combos that we're going to be using today. You can see we have no tanks in this deck, and that is because the miner is going to be our tank. We're comboing the miner with these fast-moving cards and low elixir cost cards, such as the Mini Pekka, obviously the Spirit Goblin, and the Minion Horde. Now, the Princess's main role in this deck, on top of obviously being a great counter to minions and Minion Horde and low hit point units, the Princess is also going to provide a great lure for the arrows or fireball that the opponent may have. So what you want to do this entire game when you're playing the miner is use the miner sparingly, especially after the opponent uses the arrows. So why are we going to do that? Why is that the philosophy here? Well, it's because if you notice the cards that we've selected to pair with the miner in this deck, besides the Mini Pekka, everything is fast moving and low hit points, so the Spirit Goblins and the Minion Horde are going to be your main weapons to combo along with the Mini Pekka with the miner. The miner will tank for you, and the Spirit Goblins and the Minion Horde will be played once your opponent has already used their arrows or their fireball, and they're going to quickly get to that tower, and that's the combo in this deck. So here we're going to start the Mini Pekka way back, but behind our tower, he's going to be playing a little bit of defense here. We used a miner to take out the Princess from behind, and that's another great use for the miner card. Obviously, taking out a Princess with a miner is a great trade, especially when the miner can stay alive and target the Crown Tower or the Elixir Pump. When people play an Elixir Pump behind one of their towers, like so, you can actually deploy the miner. He's going to take out that Elixir Pump and present no value to the Elixir Pump, and at the same time, he's essentially still going to be tanking for your units. As you can see just now on the screen, Manu pulled off a great combo of a Mini Pekka and Spirit Goblins while that miner was taking the heat from that tower, at the same time doing some extra damage to that Elixir Pump. Again with the miner again is tanking on that King Tower, and you can see the Mini Pekka is able to get a few swings in, taking that King Tower down to almost a quarter health. So very good job there by Manu, and that's the trick with this deck. You're using the miner to tank. He is your tank, and he's an instant tank. You can play him after the Spirit Goblins in the Pekka because he's so fast moving, and obviously you can place him exactly where you want to in terms of on the map. So let's go to the next replay here. We're going to go ahead and fight against this deck. It's going to be a Royal Giant deck. It's going to be an interesting Royal Giant variation using the Ice Wizard and Baby Dragon, as you can see on the screen right now, but Manu's deck is going to be the exact same thing, and again, we're going to start out this match by playing the Elixir Collector. So hopefully we'll be maintaining this Elixir advantage throughout the match, and you'll see the versatility on this deck going against a Royal Giant deck, and you'll see how we can actually counter a Royal Giant with this deck pretty effectively as well. So here comes the Ice Wizard, and here comes right off the bat the Royal Giant. He places that Mini Pekka. Mini Pekka, a great counter to the Royal Giant. We have the Zap spell, so if worse comes to worse, we can always place a cannon on the map after the Royal Giant is is already targeting the tower, and then you can go ahead and drop that zap spell, and it will make him reacquire the target onto the cannon. So this is exactly how the miner is going to be used here, and you can see it was used perfectly by Manu, and it's a very cheap play. So obviously you have the 3 elixir cost for the miner, and then you only have 2 elixir cost for the spear goblins, and they're actually going to get that tower down almost half damage, and you're still left with a bunch of elixir to play defense with. Again, we have the 1 elixir collector advantage, hence we're going to take advantage of that the entire game by turning great defenses into great fast play offenses using the miner. So here we go again, we're trying to bait out those arrows, but the opponent is just not biting, and Manu goes ahead, and because he's at full elixir, he goes ahead and kind of sacrifices a miner here just to hold off that ice wizard a little bit, but then the ice wizard stays alive and the royal giant is on the map. So again, a very easy counter here for Manu with this deck. He has the mini Pekka, which is great against the royal giant. He has the cannon and the zap spell, so the zap spell is perfect against royal giant, and this is what we've been waiting for. The opponent does not have his arrows up. Manu has a mini Pekka and a few minions alive onto that tower, take it down to almost nothing here, and he actually showed pretty good restraint in not dropping that miner at that point and maintaining that elixir so he could actually defend right afterwards. And defend he does, again, with the zap spell and the cannon combination that's going to get that royal giant off his tower. He uses the freeze spell, the opponent, but Manu has plenty of firepower on the board right now, and here they all come in the opposite direction. So now he's able to take down that tower fairly easily using the miner, double miner actually, on that tower. And again, Manu is patient here. He doesn't go ahead and push things too hard in that left lane. He maintains plenty of elixir to actually defend because he knows the opponent has the royal giant. He's actually doing a little bit of damage on that right tower as well with that princess who's just been alive forever. So again, he's going to go ahead and counter this royal giant. He's going to try to get the zap spell available so it will retarget onto that elixir pump, but he just barely sneaks by with the Pekka and the spear goblins, and time runs out. So nice last second win there for Manu, or nice last second defense, I should say, probably. So let's go ahead and watch one more match here, and then we'll call it an episode. Hopefully by now you guys are really getting a feel for how to use the miner card effectively and what kind of combinations to use with it. Obviously, you can add different cards to this deck and mix and match if you want to, but this is a really solid combination here. It's got mana to about 3,800 cups this season, so doing pretty well, and the season is pretty young as well. So really your bread and butter with this deck is going to be the miner spear goblin combo. The spear goblins, if the enemy cannot counter the spear goblins, again, that only costs 5 elixir for the miner spear goblin combo, and if the enemy cannot counter those spear goblins, you're liable to get 700 to 1,000 damage off that tower. That's if your enemy does not have any good counters up for those spear goblins. Now, if you can get minions to the tower, even better, but basically comboing those spear goblins or the minions or even the mini Pekka with that miner tanking is really what you're going to rely heavily on with this deck, and it's just a great and easy and simple strategy. And like I said at the beginning of this episode, the beauty of this deck is it's so solid defensively as well. Even in a pinch or a bind, you can actually use your miner defensively. So Manu is smart here yet again, waits till the princess is locked onto his tower, then he drops his own princess, and this is the combo, the princess and the spear goblins and the miner on that tower. Granted, doesn't do a heck of a lot of damage because the opponent did have a counter up as well, so he goes ahead and he distracts those barbarians with a Pekka, uses a zap on the archers, and is able to really mitigate what could have been a really rough push on the opponent's end. So now he's going to go ahead and reload, and I can bet you right now he's going to drop the Elixir Collector, try to maintain that Elixir advantage again, and he does. He reloads that Elixir Collector that the barbarians got a few hits on, so now he's going to go ahead and wait a little bit. Hopefully he's going to turn another solid defense into another solid offense. So here comes a princess on the opponent's side. He's going to use a princess of his own, but then he's going to have the miner ready to take out the other princess, and here comes the miner. He's going to go ahead and two-shot that princess, and although he actually dies before he can get a hit on that tower, that kind of puts a little bit of a roadblock into this heavy push here from the red player. So now at this point he's going to go ahead and place a princess on the opposite side, get some more splash damage down there. He kind of sacrifices a minion horde because he has to stop those barbarians, knowing that there was a princess on the other end of the map. Uses a very nice zap spell again there, taking down that princess, and here comes the combo. This is it, the miner and the spear goblins and the mini Pekka and the princess all on that tower. Of course, the miner is tanking and doing a little bit of damage to that tower, but this time the opponent was there and ready with a defensive counter of his own in terms of those barbarians again. Now, a little bit of an ill-advised freeze spell here, and that's ultimately going to cost the red player the game here, because that puts him very low on elixir, and now he's going to play a hog, so now he's even lower. Manu's going to play that Minion Horde, and the Minion Horde is really what's going to do it here. You can see that princess actually took one shot against the miner rather than the Minion Horde, and that's exactly what you want to have happen there. The princess was distracted by the miner tanking for the Minion Horde, and Manu was able to lock up another win. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this strategy video, really going over the miner in a more in-depth episode. So guys, thanks for hanging out with me, and as always, take care.